My name is Charles Whitman. I'm 72 years old. A retired auto mechanic from Kansas who spent his entire life fixing cars, raising my family with calloused hands and honest work, and believing that trust between generations is one of the greatest gifts a man can pass down. But that belief was put to the test the day my grandson borrowed my car without asking. And what I later found in the backseat changed everything I thought I knew about him and about what it means to truly show up for the people you love. It was a quiet Saturday morning, the kind where the sun hits just right on the porch and the coffee tastes a bit sweeter. And I was planning to drive into town to pick up a few things, but when I walked into my garage, my old silver Ford, the same car I've kept in perfect condition for 19 years, wasn't there. At first, I wondered if I had parked it outside and forgotten. But the driveway was empty too, and that's when the uneasy realization hit me. Someone had taken it. My mind immediately went to my grandson, Tyler, a good kid at heart, but going through that reckless, restless phase that hits boys when they think they're grown before they actually are. I called him. And at first he ignored the call, then sent a quick text. "Busy right now, Grandpa. I'll talk later." No explanation, no apology, no mention of my car. Disappointment settled heavy in my chest because I had trusted that boy more than almost anyone, and I had always believed he respected me enough to ask before taking something that wasn't his. Hours passed, and those hours left plenty of room for my imagination to stir up fear. What if he crashed? What if he got pulled over? What if something happened and I didn't know how to help him? Because when you're 72, fear doesn't hit you like panic. It hits you like a quiet ache, reminding you of how fragile life can be. Around 4 p.m., I heard the rumble of my Ford pulling into the driveway, and I stepped outside expecting to see Tyler lean out the window with some cocky grin. But instead, he got out slowly, his shoulders hunched, eyes to the ground, avoiding my stare the way people do when they know they've crossed a line. I opened my mouth to speak, to ask why he took the car without permission, but before I could, he mumbled, "Sorry, Grandpa," and tried to rush inside. But I stopped him, not with anger, just with a firm voice shaped by decades of parenting. "Tyler, we're going to talk about this right now." He froze, swallowing hard, guilt written plain across his face. But when he finally turned toward me, I noticed something else. Fear, the real kind. The kind that tells you something deeper is going on beneath the surface. I told him to open the back door of the car, and when he hesitated, I knew for certain that whatever he didn't want me to see was exactly what I needed to see. After a long second, he unlocked it, and I pulled the door open, and what I found sitting on the back seat knocked the breath right out of me. A small duffel bag, half unzipped, filled with clothes, a worn-down blanket, a pair of shoes that weren't Tyler's, and on top of it all, a sketchbook with drawings of a girl I didn't recognize. It didn't take long for the pieces to come together, but I waited, giving him a chance to speak first because sometimes the truth means more when it comes from the person holding it in their chest. Tyler sank down onto the porch steps, buried his face in his hands and whispered, "Grandpa." She didn't have anywhere else to go, and when he lifted his eyes, they were glossed with tears. Tears I hadn't seen on that boy since he was little. He explained that her name was Maya, a classmate a year older than him, who had run away from home because her stepfather had been abusive emotionally and physically. She didn't trust anyone, didn't want to go to authorities, didn't want to go to a shelter, and Tyler, with the naive heart of a 17-year-old who thinks love means protecting someone alone, had been sneaking her food, letting her sleep in one of the abandoned boats near the lake, and using my car to bring her blankets and clothes. As he spoke, I felt my anger draining away, replaced with something heavier, pain for the child who was trying to fix something far too big for him, and pain for the young girl who thought hiding in the cold was safer than staying in her own home. But the part that hit me the hardest came next. Tyler admitted he had been too scared to ask for help because he thought I would be disappointed in him, thought I'd think he was irresponsible or stupid for getting involved in something so dangerous. And hearing that broke something inside me because the last thing I ever wanted was for my grandson to fear coming to me when it mattered most. I sat beside him on the steps, put a hand on his shoulder, and told him the truth straight and simple. "Son, doing the right thing is never stupid. Doing it alone is, and Tyler cried harder than I'd seen him cry in years, all that weight finally pouring out. After he calmed down, I asked him where Maya was now, and he said she was waiting in the old fishing shed near the water, too scared to be seen, too scared to risk trusting anyone else. I nodded, stood up, grabbed my jacket, and told Tyler to take me to her. No judgment. No yelling, just action, because a girl in danger doesn't need someone to scold, she needs someone to show up. When we arrived at the shed, Maya flinched at the sight of me, her eyes hollow, her hands trembling, and she clutched that sketchbook of hers like it was the only thing in the world she owned. I didn't move toward her right away, didn't crowd her or overwhelm her. I simply knelt down at a distance and said softly, "You're safe now. Nobody's going to hurt you while I'm here." And for a moment she just stared at me, confused, skeptical, scared. But then she took one tiny step forward. And that was enough. I convinced her to let me call a friend of mine, an old police officer who now works with youth services. A good man with a good heart who knows how to talk to scared kids without making them feel trapped. He came immediately, without sirens, without uniform, just as a person. And after talking to Maya for half an hour, he assured her she would not be forced back into the home she ran from. Arrangements were made for her to stay temporarily with a foster family trained to handle trauma cases. And while she was still terrified, she agreed, because someone finally gave her a choice. When they drove her away, she looked back at me with those trembling eyes, and for the first time, I saw a spark of hope there, small but real, and that moment alone made everything worth it. That night, Tyler and I sat at the kitchen table for a long time, talking about what happened, about responsibility, about bravery, about the things kids shouldn't have to handle alone, and as we talked, I realized something that changed me as much as what I found in that back seat. Tyler wasn't reckless. He wasn't wild or careless. He was compassionate, fiercely so, and his only mistake was thinking he had to carry the world by himself. I told him that I was proud of him for caring when others would have looked away, but that part of being a man isn't just protecting people, it's knowing when to ask for help. In the following weeks, Maya's case was handled properly, her stepfather was investigated, and she began therapy through youth services. Tyler visited her with permission, and each time he came home, he talked about how she was healing little by little. As for my car, well, I taught Tyler how to maintain it properly, how to change the oil, check the brakes, and take responsibility for the things he borrows. And he's been more respectful than ever since that day. Sometimes I still find his drawings of Maya tucked in the back seat, not out of fear or secrecy, but out of memory because she mattered to him and he mattered to her. And every time I think about that afternoon, about finding that duffel bag and realizing that the boy I worried was slipping away had actually been trying to save someone else, I feel something warm in my chest. Pride, yes, but also gratitude. Because sometimes life tests you in ways you don't expect. Sometimes it hands you a moment that forces you to look deeper than frustration or fear, and when you do, you might just find strength and goodness where you least expect it. The day my grandson borrowed my car without asking didn't just change how I saw him. It reminded me that even when young people make mistakes, their hearts often carry truths worth listening to, and sometimes the things you find in the backseat are not signs of trouble, but signs of courage, compassion, and the desperate hope of a child trying to protect someone who has no one else.